Okay, now we're on to public comments.
The first one is Pete Key.
I'll come back to it. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, council members, just here, short comments. I'd like to remind you folks that you've been invited. Thank you, Ben, for coming out to our homes for that first-hand view of what we're in opposition for this Camelia Townhouse Project. And particularly to support the Wildomar. We've met a lot of people from Wildomar that I've never had the opportunity to meet before. And I'm here to support their problems with this project too. And that's about it. Just want to let you know we're still here and you're still invited to come out for those that haven't.
Thank you.
Vernoica Langworthy.
Good evening, City Council. I'm Vernoica Langworthy, speaking as a resident of Wildomar. I'm not speaking on any official capacity. I'm not speaking on behalf of being on the Planning Commission. I'm speaking as a personal resident. Each of you will cast a deciding vote later this year and in the next year that will be of historical significance and importance to each person in Wildomar. Think of the lives that are impacted. Don't bet on a tax windfall. At the last City Council meeting, I expressed my concern that allowing cannabis commercial cultivation, processing, and sales for recreational use or other use would negatively impact families, schools, and our community. Tonight, I want to address economics. According to R. Gil Kurlikowski, National Drug Control Policy Director during the Obama administration, rejects economic arguments for drug legalization and taxation, stating, "Tobacco also does not carry its economic weight when we tax it. Each year we spend more than $200 billion and collect only about $25 billion in taxes. If the heavy taxation of cigarettes is unable to come close to making up for the health and other costs associated with their use, it seems doubtful at best that marijuana taxes would be sufficient to cover the cost of legalizing marijuana." Director Kurlowski also states any potential tax revenue from legalization would never come close to offsetting the cost to society imposed by increases in drug use that would result. Our experiences with legal substances are instructive in this regard. For example, U.S. excise taxes collected on alcohol in 2007 totaled around $9 billion and states collected around $5.6 billion. Taken together, this is less than 10% of the more than $185 billion in alcohol-related social costs such as health care, lost productivity, and criminal justice system expenses. In a May 18, 2017 LA Times article, George Skelton reports from Sacramento on our governor's actions. By a landslide, California voters, roughly 9 million, approved a $2 per pack increase in the cigarette tax last November. Much of the new revenue was supposed to go toward raising fees for doctors and dentists who treat poor patients on Medi-Cal, the state's version of federal Medicaid. But Brown has refused to allocate any of the new money for that despite the glaring need. So even Brown and legislatures have not done what the people had requested. So they claim they didn't have enough money to boost Medi-Cal fees. So the providers formed a coalition with anti-smoking activists and passed Prop 56, despite being greatly outspent by the tobacco industry. But Brown shrugged off the election result. He proposed giving Medi-Cal $1.2 billion in tobacco taxes, largely to pay for recent benefit enrollment expansion, but not one dime for provider fees. You know how Governor Brown treated the city of Wildomar regarding VLF fees. Why would you expect anything different from Sacramento when it comes time to allocate other tax revenue? Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter Dejong.
Good evening. I'm just here to see about getting the dirt cleaned off of Lemon Street. It's been there since February. Called the city several times. Nothing's been done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trudy Curry.
I'm here as a resident of Wildomar. I've owned a home here for 15 years. My husband, my husband and I purchased our home 15 years ago. When we were looking for a retirement home in the Inland Empire, it was to be our last home. We chose this area because we wanted to stay in California, the state we were born and raised in. The reason for choosing Wildomar specifically was because of its small town rural atmosphere surrounded by rolling hills. My daughter moved here in 2014, bringing her horse, knowing that there were rural riding trails and a number of stables within Wildomar. In the zoning map of Wildomar, there are still plenty of properties that are zoned rural residential that allow for building homes on 1/2 acre or larger, maybe even horse properties. On the Wildomar general plan map, there are no longer any properties designated to rural residential acreage open to building on the west side of the 15, and very few open to this type of development on the east side of the freeway. I don't know when this changed, but it is not in keeping with the City of Wildomar strategic vision plan adopted when Wildomar became a city in 2008. Perhaps we should take a look at the general plan map and put us back on a course of maintaining rural open space as agreed to in 2008. In 2008, our first council set up a citizens committee with the goal of strategic vision to maintain its history of families, ranches, growth, and independence. The promise to the citizens of Wildomar was to protect our rural atmosphere and open spaces. My opposition is not to stop development, but to maintain rural atmosphere with opportunities to live on rural properties. With the current general plan map, that is not a possibility. There is no protection for rural acreage or for riding trails. A zoning change to build a project like Camelia Townhomes is to create a future of apartment-like structures on some of our scenic rolling hills. Once this medium to high density development begins, all surrounding properties will also be asking for high density zoning approval. Because it is unlikely that a developer would want to build single-family residential homes next to condos, apartments, and townhomes. Currently, there are 38 commercial and 24 residential projects, 2,561.
I'm sorry, the time's up on your, okay, thank you. Can you send us, if you have that on your system, send it to each one of us on our emails. It's always good to do that anyway, that way we know what you're gonna be talking about.
Okay.
Helps us to know too. Any other?
Kenny Mays with minutes donated by Tim Huizenga.
Okay, first thing I want to say is the Wildomar Library has a summer reading program that runs for another 4 weeks. We have 35 children under the age of 4 signed up and over 200 in total. So bring your children on down to the library and sign up any day that the library is open. That was a good part. When is the Freedom Swing going to be open to the public? The contraption has been installed to the tune of $31,000 the second time around at Marna O'Brien Park, which the city paid for over a year ago. On 3 separate occasions at the Measures the Oversight meeting, I've heard the only holdup is signage, with instructions on how to enter and properly use the swing. The manufacturer's installation manual contains such instructions on page 10. Twice in recent months, someone has forced the latch on the gate, allowing it to be used by many children at one time. One such user was an adult citizen of Wildomar who left in disgust because he could not get his wheelchair entirely onto this device, defined in the manufacturer's manual as an adult wheelchair swing, frame, and hanger. He could not enter in such a manner as to feel comfortable about swinging. It's time for this council to admit that this particular device was a poor choice for our park, which has no parks personnel to properly monitor this contraption's proper use, and to secure it when the parks are closed. You need to remove it and move on. In moving on, the ADA ramp that was removed the first time this device was installed in the tot lot needs to be replaced, once again making that tot lot ADA accessible as required by law. I would ask once again that a Parks Committee consisting of citizens be formed to oversee the daily maintenance operations and programs at our parks. Before any major task be performed, that committee needs to investigate, discuss, and sign off. The Standing Committee for Parks needs to be disbanded, dismantled, and eliminated. With on average a single improperly noticed meeting each year, it's not functional. The city also needs to stop the practice of allowing scout projects to be installed in any of our parks unless they can get the approval of the new Parks Committee. The Standing Committee is biased on its decision-making in this regard. Many of the projects completed are poorly engineered, poorly executed, and in poor shape within a few months after installation. Okay, on to Camelia Townhomes. If Camelia Townhomes and the extension of Jefferson onto Palomar is permitted to proceed in this town, which is currently split in two by the 15 freeway, it will become split by 3 because of a new high-speed roadway. This town will also, with the approval of multifamily units on the west side of the 15, be on the road to losing all of its ruralness for the almighty dollar. Many of us will become dislocated refugees in our own community. Our neighbors to the south in Murrieta will lose whatever privacy they currently have, so Wildomar can become what every other town in the area strives to be, the place that everybody left because of traffic and overcrowding. Thank you.
Olivia Fuentes.
I've been a resident of Wildomar for 12 years, which is my entire life. And so I've noticed all the changes over the last couple of years that have caused traffic that we've never had before. I noticed all the horses that I used to wait to on the way to school and back are gone and have been replaced with houses crammed into small spaces. Overcrowding has caused the area to be more suburban and less rural. We chose the city as our home because it was less crowded and rural. I would love to meet new people, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to sacrifice our rural city for a suburban area. I also don't want to see apartments at every corner. Our city is more prone to crime, also due to the fact that there are not enough emergency services available. I find it very irresponsible that we are allowing outsiders to make money off putting too many people in a small place. I know I'm just a child, but I hope for the sake of my generation and generations to come that the decisions that you are making will not change our rural community. So I hope that you will take this and many other speeches to consideration while making your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy Morris.
I only wish I could speak that good.
Someday.
Mayor, council, staff, and residents, I'm Andy Morris. I'm Board of Directors for Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. Currently the Vice President. I represent Wildomar. I'm one of 2 that live in the city of Wildomar, myself and George Cambrero. In 1950, Lake Elsinore residents voted to form the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. Water tables were receding and local water rights were slipping into the hands of outsiders. The residents and community leaders saw the need for a municipal water district, a legal entity that could protect their water and secure imported water from Metropolitan Water District. The district has 5 elected representatives by district, whose job it is to hire a general manager that runs the organization, to set policy, approve budgets, and ultimately rates. On Thursday, July 27th at 4 p.m., the district will be holding a public hearing regarding our next 2-year budget and rates. Please come out, and if you are not able to attend in person, because I know a lot of people drive from far away and have jobs in Orange County, please send in your questions and comments to the district. They all are appreciated, and we do want them. We have been working on the budget for quite some time, and there are increases in water and sewer rates that people need to be aware of. No director wants to obviously raise rates since we're all paying them as well. We all live here. The reality is that we purchase 70% of our water supply from Metropolitan Water District, And that has almost a 4% increase for 2017 and then again in 2018 that we pass on to our customers. Our goal at the district is to get down to a 50% dependence on imported water to help reduce the increases we take on an annual basis for Metropolitan. We are adding additional wells, adding a new pipeline to bring water from San Bernardino that we own through an acquisition of Temescal Water Company that's been stranded asset up in San Bernardino for years. And we've also received $11 million in grant funding to help us do that. On the sewer side, there will be the first increase in 5 years. The total increase for water and sewer for a family of 4 is approximately $5 per month in 2017. What you really want to look at in the sewer for 2018, there's a proposal to go to a variable rate for sewer based on how many people are in your home. There are obviously a lot of changes, so be on the lookout for your notice. Looks like this. A lot of people have gotten them. There's a lot of information about the changes in there. If you have any questions, please feel free to call the district with questions or email me at amorris@evmwd.net. One last thing that is of importance to the council. On May 31st of 2017, the Nevada Hydro Company filed a notice of intent to file a license application with the Federal Regulatory Commission for its proposed Lake Elsinore Pump Storage Leaks project. Lake Elsinore Valley Municipal Water, the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District is not a party to this application in any form, and they pursued this application on their own. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Those are all the speakers I have.
Okay.